Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in a little coat. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up!
One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Ma! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning if we're not back by dawn.
It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard for your Monday night. An absolute pleasure to be with you. Now, starting things off with a little bit of a down note. Unfortunately, Paulie will not be in the studio. He did pull a muscle in his leg dancing to J-Lo and Shakira at the Super Bowl halftime. So, shout out to him, hoping for a speedy recovery. This evening is once again a very special guest choice special. And we are joined by all the way from Queensland, Iesha Chau. How you doing?
Good, thanks. I'm so happy to be here and so nervous.
Thank you so much for being a part of it. Now, you came across my radar because basically we were invited to Blazer's last beauty pageant.
Yes.
And at which point you competed and you did quite well.
Yeah, I did. I won best
Brag.
round. Thank you. I won best in round 4, round 1 and 2 in my divisions. And then I also came second runner-up for my division, which was Division 3. And that was really exciting for me because it was only my second beauty pageant. And, thought I was going to get nothing. I was, joking with Blaze because we're good friends as well. I was just like, I'm not saying cheat, but cheat.
A little bit of nepotism never hurt anybody. Thank you so much for joining us. You've sent through an amazing list of films. It's very varied and... you laid down the law. You wanted entire director's filmography counted as one of your choices. So we let it pass. But
Thank you.
Yeah, was it hard getting it down to 10?
Yes, absolutely. And it almost feels like you're being judged on just 10 movies when you have such a vast variety of movies that you actually enjoy. And so you're like, I know those are the 10, but I also enjoy this and that. So don't think I'm not cool if I don't like that movie that you also like, because that's probably in my top 100 anyway.
Yeah, we always everyone whinges about how hard it is, but we never take it serious because we've never had to do it ourselves as hosts. But I don't think I could narrow it down to 10. But we do have people that go, I'm going to choose this because, it shows who I am.
Yeah.
But then you have people that pick it just because they think that's what you want them to pick. And so they're like, I picked Goodfellas. And it's like, why? And when they can't back it up, you're like, you've only picked it just because you want to show off your culturing in movies.
Yeah.
How long are you in SA for?
Well, I've been here since Friday and I leave on Wednesday. So I'm terrible at maths, bad Asian. And so I think that's 5 or 5.5 days. Yeah.
Do you get over here much?
I think over the last couple of years, I've been traveling down maybe 3 or 4 times a year, mostly for the competition and then some photo shoots as well. And then also just to catch up with friends and family because I did grow up here until I was 20 and then I moved to Queensland.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not realise that.
Yeah.
Did you go to school in SA?
Yeah, I did. I grew up on the south side, so I first went to Myponga, Aldinga, and then Woodcroft. And then I went to Woodcroft College and Mitcham Girls. That's where I graduated.
Oh, la-di-da.
Yes.
I didn't realise you were doing so well.
Oh, yeah, nah. Growing up in an all-girls school, it makes you tough.
That's it. Now, we've got a heap of movies to get through this evening. Have you seen anything lately that stood out to you that's not on your list?
Oh, my God. Actually, I did, and I almost wanted to add it to the list. I think it's called The Chase, and it had Charlie Sheen in it.
Oh, is it the courthouse drama movie? No?
No, so in this one, he's actually broken out of prison and he's at a service station and they're looking for him because he's stolen a car. and he doesn't realise that he actually takes hostage the daughter of someone who's really rich and influential in the town. And along the whole ride, she ends up falling in love with him, and they end up having sex in the car. But Charlie Sheen, I'd never seen him act in that kind of role, so that was really good for me. And I was like, how have I not seen this?
How young was he in that one?
Oh, he actually wasn't even that young, and he was supposed to be playing a 28-year-old. I even made comment about it with the person I was watching it with, and I was just like, he's supposed to be 28? There is no way he looks 28. He looks like he could be her dad.
I spent the weekend. I have really been fallen behind a lot of current stuff, but I finally got around to watching Adam Sandler's Uncut Gems movie because it is so... Everything that goes wrong can go wrong, and every time he tries to fix it, he makes it worse.
Yeah.
So I would say anyone with anxiety to steer clear of it because it is really intense the whole way through.
But if it really gets to you, I think that's the best part of it because that's obviously their goal.
Well, the movie ended, and because I thought, so every year when the Oscars come out, everyone's like, oh, this person didn't get nominated. It's not fair. They were overlooked. They should have. And you're like, just shut up. Stop being a sore loser. But after watching, I was like, that really deserved...
We should post him one.
He played so far from his usual type that it really showed that he knew what he was doing for once.
Now I really want to watch it.
Yeah, no, I recommend it. But yeah, it definitely comes with a warning. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. There we heard a clip from the seminal children's classic, The Goonies, because it is a guest choice special, and Iesha Chau has picked The Goonies. Why did you pick this film?
So The Goonies for me is basically just my childhood, really. I had it on VHS. I watched it all the time, and I wasn't allowed to do much as a kid. I wasn't allowed to go out. I had no childhood friends. I had no younger siblings, so it was just like living in a fantasy
I wish I'd known.
land.
I didn't have the violin music ready to play.
Oh,
but
my God.
Continue.
Feel sorry for me. The world owes me something.
Did it resonate because you found all that pirate treasure when you were young as well?
No, I wish. I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm still looking every now and then. So this is one of those ones you saw and just kept watching all through your life?
Yeah, just a repetitive movie. And then being that tattoos are such a big part of my life, it was my very first portrait tattoo of Data from the Goonies going across the flying fox sort of thing from one house to the other. Yeah.
And at what point will you be getting your truffle shuffle tattoo?
Well, I did think about getting more characters, but the thing is I'm running out of space.
Well, what about a big throat piece just of Chunk in his different states throughout the film?
I've got enough Chunk around the throat.
Well, I'm living the Chunk. And this movie triggered me as a kid because I was a fat kid. Aww. And I was the Chunk of our group of friends.
I was a fatty as a kid too, so I feel that.
Yeah, but you get to say was. I don't get to say.
No,
mine's a lifelong.
You just be like, I'm a teddy bear now.
Well, I've actually just put on all this weight for a role. I just don't have the role yet, but one day I will find it. What about the other kids' classics that were out there? How did this rate when it compared to the likes of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Or did you have other movies like The Sandlot Kids or E.T., Hook? Any of those movies that really resonated with you? Or was the... Say you went to the video shop and there was nothing else to hire. Was it always Goonies again? Or did you have it on VHS or DVD?
I never left without anything. I would always pick something new. But yes, it would be something I'd definitely turn to all the time because I had it on video myself. I'd call it my go-to-sleep movie, if you will. Yep. Basically, you know, that movie that you've watched a million times and you're quite comfortable missing the ending because you know, so you easily fall asleep to it. Yep. So that was mine. I knew it like the back of my hand. But with E.T., I even have a little gap filler E.T., so that is actually one of my more favourite movies as well. Yes, but Hook, oh my gosh. Hook absolutely scared the crap out of me as a kid. Especially, I don't know who the actor was who played Hook, but he played him so well.
Dustin
he was so
Hoffman.
Sinister. There you go.
Yep.
Was it Dustin Hoffman?
It was, yep. Under all that makeup.
I learn something new every day.
That's it. That's what we're here for. The Goonies, for me, didn't resonate because I'd seen Corey Feldman in so many other things it was one. As a kid, you know when you see an actor from something you love in something else and it takes you out of the movie. Yeah. I was a massive fan of Gremlins that had Corey Feldman in it. So then watching the Goonies, I'm like, that's the kid out of Gremlins. Why is he in? Yeah, you can't be here. And then fell in love with the Lost Boys when I was a little bit older, and I was like, that's the Corey Feldman movie.
See, I haven't even seen that. People have told me I need to, and I just haven't got around to it. You know how you always go back to your favourites instead of watching all your recommendations? I think you even shared a meme like that.
The Lost Boys is the Goonies for 15-year-olds.
Ah, okay.
So it's Twilight of its time.
Oh, really? No,
but
so should I watch it?
In a positive way. Like, it was for tweens back in the day, but it was really cool. Unfortunately, the director went on to make some terrible Batman movies, but beyond that, this was directed, I only just realised, by Richard Donner, who did all the Superman movies that I don't care about, and it was written by Chris Columbus that did Home Alone and all those other amazing movies. I believe he wrote Uncle Buck with John Hughes as well, or maybe he directed it, I can't remember. But yeah, what a great choice. When's the last time you watched The Goonies?
Actually, I can tell you I watched it early June last year in the cinema because VMAX had like an anniversary screening. So I ended up going with my tattoo artist who also absolutely loves The Goonies as well. And we watched them then. So yeah, June last year.
Nice. Now, you said that you used to always hire something from the video shop. Mm-hmm. Did you have a favourite local video shop back in the day?
Honestly.
Or are you a bit of a cheater? Would you just any port in a storm?
Yeah, kind of any store. Well, I was a kid. I was being taken by my parents, so they'd go wherever the specials are, really.
And I love, growing up in the time that we grew up, it wasn't just video stores. Some convenience stores had videos to hire. I was obsessed. One of our local petrol stations was also like a mini video store, and it just had like, you know, those sunglasses racks.
Yeah.
It was just that of like the same 30 videos for like 10 years.
That's awesome.
But there's just such a nostalgia of remember going and looking. And it was also a time where the cover of a movie was more important than trailers. Like now, YouTube's the biggest thing because it's like, here's the first trailer, here's the 80th trailer before the film comes out. But back then it was just the VHS cover in the rack.
Yeah, for sure.
You can pretend you're younger and say that you do mean DVDs.
No. VHS, it's so funny. Everyone just sort of assumes that I don't know. But the thing is, my mum, like when other kids wanted Beanie Bears and stuff, she would go and get me a video. You know what I mean? So I literally had a massive bookshelf full of just videos. That's why I'm here.
Very nice. It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard. A pleasure to be with you. It is a guest choice special of Iesha Chau. This is the first movie on your list that didn't surprise me because judging by your tattoo selection, you're not normal. No. You are a massive fan of true crime and serial killers. Why don't you take us through some of your crowning achievement tattoos that you have on your body?
Oh, okay. Well, probably if I was to go through, do you mean like the serial killer tattoos that I have?
They're the ones.
So I have Charles Manson. Well, basically, just to give you an idea, the right leg of mine is based on the 7 deadly sins, and each serial killer, based on their actions and whatnot, it's based on them representing, say, for example, with Jeffrey Dahmer, his was about envy because he was all about beauty and whatnot, if you look at certain aspects of their actions. So I have Charles Manson, John Gacy, Albert Fish, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Ted Bundy in the works at the moment. I still have Ed Kemper to come, and then I can't remember the last one. Yeah, of course, I have to have him there.
So you are set for the last one, or are you still researching?
Oh, no, I am set. It's in the plan, but I've just forgotten.
What does everyone think? What's the reactions when people see it and go, is that the dude that... did that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. People stopped following me online when I got my first serial killer tattoo. And like I said, well, you know, if you can't see past it and see the psychology behind it and the cool aspect of the 7 deadly sins, also the movie 7 inspired that aspect as well. You know, then I don't want you following me anyway. You're boring.
That's it. Now, you have chosen the Stephen King-based film from 1990, Misery. It is a film that had the entire world cringing because there is a scene where Kathy Bates' character hobbles James Caan. Famously in the book, she actually cuts his feet off and cauterizes it. But I actually think this is much more upsetting because she basically puts the block of wood between his ankles and goes at it with a sledgehammer. What an amazing character she plays in this film. Why did you pick this movie?
I relate. No. Basically, it was just such a movie with such impact when I watched it. And it was probably a film that I watched with my parents and had to rewatch a little older. Just because, you know, when I was younger, I'd turn away at the cringeworthy scene, you know, but as I grew older and I became more into the gore and into that sort of stuff, I was like, no, I want to see it, you know.
Bit more of that.
Eyes open. So now with my tattoos that I also have as well, I do have a Kathy Bates portrait.
Really?
Yeah, with a bit of typewriter and the sledgehammer, because that is the iconic scene, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that movie. It's just got a good start, middle and end, a climax, suspense, you know, everything psychologically for me as well.
And it says a lot about a movie when it can keep you riveted the whole way through, when it's essentially two actors.
Yeah.
It essentially in one room as well. Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously the whole way in the car crash. But it just manages to be so effective in the way it's made, because it's just such a slow build at the start, because you start seeing the cracks of her facade and you're like, something's not quite right.
Yeah.
And then once she passes that tipping point, which I like the first bit that really shows the cracks, is where she's upset at him using profanity in his book.
Yeah.
And so she starts going off. She spills the soup and then blames him for spilling the soup.
Bad.
Yeah. Oh, man, what a movie. And you get all the character from him finding her notebooks, her clipbooks of what she's been doing when she was a nurse.
Yes, the scrapbooking.
Yeah, the scrapbook. So what a great choice. Were you a fan of other Stephen King films?
Yes, but not as much as this one. So, you know, if you ask me about certain scenes, they're probably movies I watched once or twice and forgotten half of it anyway. But another Stephen King that I really loved was Rose Red. So that was like, I remember when I watched it, I had like 2 DVDs because it went for like 4 hours or something. But I just like the fact that it was based on a house that was alive and possessed and that sort of stuff, and it was creepy and it went on forever, so I loved that.
I absolutely love Stephen King's The Mist, particularly because of the changes that the director Frank Darabont made to the movie, where the ending is probably one of the most upsetting endings in a horror film of all time. And I just love that movie so much.
Wow, what was the ending?
Spoiler alert, basically they break down in the mist and a giant monster's near them.
Yeah, that's
so he shoots his son and the 2 people that he's with.
Oh, that's the part you're talking about.
Just as he does that, the wind picks up and the mist blows away and the army roll in. So if he'd waited 10 more seconds, they all would have survived. What a great ending.
I completely forgot about all of that. And yes, oh my gosh, because no one wants to see someone have to shoot their own child and then see that it could have been avoided.
Yeah, exactly. That, and because the original was just the shooting and that was it.
Yeah.
But Frank Darabont, the director, is like, I've got an idea of something that could be way more messed up.
Oh, yeah.
And Stephen King has famously said that it became Frank Darabont's story after that, because it added such an amazing ending that he will always regret his ending.
Yeah.
Have you read the book of Misery?
No, I haven't read the books.
Because books are for suckers.
No, don't say that. I actually love reading, but I don't love reading a lot of these ones. No, stop it. But I'm actually really bad, because all I do is read stuff about, like, I don't know, the Sun King, so like Tudor period stuff, and like Henry VIII. It's really boring.
You're right, it is.
Yeah, but it puts me to sleep, so that's good.
Oh, that's good. And that saves the Goonies getting worn out, because you can read instead of watching the Goonies to fall asleep.
Yeah, or do both. Have them in the background and read.
Now, there's not that much horror on your list this evening, are you? Obviously, you're into true crime, so surely that transposes over into fiction. What are some of your favourite horrors that didn't make the list?
Oh, okay. So probably my favourite horrors would have to be definitely the Halloween movies, because Michael Myers, like when I was younger, I was given Halloween 1, 2 and 3, and I just watched them over and over and over again, and it kind of desensitized me to horror, I feel, because I fell in love with the movie itself, that I just kept watching that kind of suspense and, I don't know, thrillery sort of feeling, and I kind of got over it.
Yep.
But yeah, I really like Michael Myers, and obviously how he just sort of persisted with everything. I was just like, yeah, if he could do it, I can.
So it had nothing to do with him murdering his family?
Oh no, I'm a sociopath, obviously.
What else made your list of horror films you love?
The Scream movies.
Yep.
Loved those. And I think I know that they were cheesy. I'm not trying to say that they weren't. But I think that they were iconic, and I think that they were amazing. If you didn't grow up watching them and you were to watch them now, I think you would probably just laugh. But back then it was scary.
I had a lot of people recommend the TV show of Scream, like the series of it.
Yeah.
and I started watching it, and they completely changed the mask, which for me was the most iconic point of Scream. That I was like, why bother? And then apparently in the second season, the original mask comes back, but that was because of the backlash of fans, because it just looked like a robot that had been spray painted white. That's what the mask in the TV show was.
Yeah.
What else? Were there anything? Are you into anything that aren't slashers? Obviously, you said Rose Red is.
Yeah, slashers are a big one for me.
What about the I guess you'd say docu-movies, the likes of Green River or the Jeremy Renner did a Dahmer movie. I think it was just called Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yep, I watched actually a couple of those more recently on YouTube. Haha, thanks for free. And I watched the Ted Bundy movie that everyone kind of went on about, and it goes for like 2 or so hours.
Or the Zac...
No, not the Zac Efron one. I think it was back done.
I know the one you mean. It's just called Bundy.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
And it's so funny because my tattoo artist, who again loves the serial killers as well, he was like, oh, that's such a good movie of him. And I was just like, are you kidding me? I think he overacted. I think like this and that. And he's just like, oh. So we're kind of on a double edge with that one. But I didn't particularly like it. But, I mean, I watched it.
Did you watch the Zac Efron Bundy movie?
Yeah, I did watch that as well.
It focuses on the court case and basically his love life more than what everyone came for. So I
didn't see any death.
No, I think it was a bit of advertising because it really promised to be something
violent.
quite upsetting, and then it just really wasn't.
Yeah, and I think that like we all know what he's done. Sorry, good English. And because the fact that we know what he's done, it's not necessarily going to be too shocking to include scenes that include some of those things because we're expecting it. We know his history. So I don't think it should be too upsetting if people were to, watch scenes with that sort of stuff, if they were just trying to, not upset victims' families or whatever.
Yep. Because they say that it's glorifying the killer more so than the victims. But I do like in the last 10 years there's been that shift where a lot of the storytelling is through the victims.
Yeah.
And it's not just what they did, it's who these people were before and how it affected. And a lot of... you hear these days a lot of victim impact statements, whereas back in the day it was just a statistic almost. It was like, he killed this woman, he killed this person.
Yeah, that's it. And when you put it from the victim's perspective, and if they do show their violent death, it's more of people having it from a sympathetic view as opposed to get him.
From the year 1999, you have chosen Jawbreaker, starring Rose McGowan. What an amazing choice. We recently visited this one on our podcast. And it's the first time I'd seen it was 2019.
No.
I completely missed this in high school.
How did you... Oh, my gosh, you've literally tortured yourself.
In my defense, 1999 was a massive year for movies. There was so many good things coming out.
Yeah, agreed.
Why did you pick this movie?
Well, first off, I'd probably go back to my roots with Charmed because Rose McGowan was in that. And then I was just a real fan of her, which I think most girls my age were. And then not only that, guys were obsessed with her too because she's a hottie. Why not?
Yep.
And then...
She wears a pink shirt in Scream. And
yes.
I'll remember that longer than I'll remember her name.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, again in Scream, and Scream being, of course, one of my favourite movies. But with Jawbreaker, it just has the classic teen movie, teen thriller sort of, little bit of violence, but not too much because, you're still sort of working on the gossip angle and... for girls, it's got that whole, secret friendships and, the queen bee and all that sort of stuff that you like to watch. Kind of like a Mean Girls. It's like the original Mean Girls, but
it really
with a death.
is. Yep. Because we did a double episode of this and Dead Men on Campus. And they're both in that era of late 90s where murder could be a punchline as well as a part of the movie. Yeah, I just really hadn't seen this. And I've got to say, the fashion of 1999... Bring it back.
Bring it back, please.
I want the transparent, like almost cellophane-looking jackets. All the like space age, like everything looks like
really
aluminium.
Bleached top hair with the guys and the like Oakley sunglasses.
Twist spikes, blade scooters.
Oh my gosh!
We've
Take
just
an ankle to the scooter for that.
We've just turned into an old Uncle and Auntie. This is old Uncle and Auntie chat here on DVG. Yeah, man, this movie, I was really upset that I'd missed it because for everyone else, they're like, I've got such nostalgia for that film. And I'm like, I've never seen it. But For me, I had seen, obviously it stars Rebecca Gayheart as well, but she was in Urban Legend.
Yes.
Which
Urban
I absolutely
Legend.
loved that movie.
Do you know who else was in Urban Legend? And this
Jared
is
Leto?
No, but yes, but no. There are so many people that don't realise this, but do you know the Halloween movie? I think it might be 5, and another one, and also the remakes by Rob Zombie. The chick who plays the little kid, I think her name's
Jamie.
Jamie, there you go. She actually plays one of the victims in Urban Legend as well, the goth girl.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I loved, we recently revisited Urban Legend, and there's actually a bit that made me laugh out loud where Joshua Jackson gets in the car, tries to start it, and the Dawson's Creek theme is playing on the radio, and he quickly turns it off.
That was funny.
Nice, because we are both very old. You were showing your age by picking
Oh my
this
God,
film.
stop it. I've literally just turned 28 and I can already feel the wrinkles.
Well, I did find you on MySpace today.
It's horrible. It's shameful, but it was my past.
Hey, it is a big part. I just wish Mum was still around because I was killing it.
I didn't even know that you could still find those photos.
What about
Side Fringe?
What about the likes of The Craft? Were they
oh,
movies that stood out to you?
yes, The Craft. Oh my gosh, I think I even toyed with putting that on the top 10.
Yep.
But yeah, love that too. I think it's got the same sort of aspects, but it's also got that supernatural vibe that Charmed sort of, like I was a fan of with Charmed and stuff. And like when I was younger and I watched Charmed, I would like get 2 of my best friends and we would get just sticks or dirt or whatever and put it in a pot and we'd be like, yeah, this is our poison, like for someone else that we hate, because I wasn't popular.
Oh man, every time Charmed, because I never got to see Charmed when it first came out.
Charmed.
But revisiting it, because it's occasionally on now, it gets rerun, and I'm always surprised because I was a massive fan of the TV show Nip Tuck. Yeah, and that had Julie McMahon was one of the leads in it, and he's in Charmed ever so often. But in the latest season of Nip Tuck, I think it was season 4, there's a serial killer series. The whole final season, they're getting hunted by a serial killer, and Rose McGowan is Julie McMahon's apprentice, like surgeon. Yeah. And so there was all these, like, because I was so obsessed, I was always reading. No, I was always reading online. It's like, oh, what an amazing, like, reunion for McMahon and McGowan. I'm like, what else were they in?
Oh, because you didn't know.
I hadn't seen Charmed because it's also got the girl I was in love with from Double Dragon. Who's the other witch in Charmed?
Phoebe.
Was it Shannon Doherty was also in there?
Oh, yeah, but she died. She was Prue. I was Prue in my mind and my group of friends until she died, and then I was Phoebe.
Okay. It was having a mental blank. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm just trying to think. She was in Double Dragon.
Double Dragon Cost.
It's not coming up because I'm probably spelling it wrong. Yes, I am.
I will elevator music.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, so Charmed, is that your favourite TV show?
Not favourite, but it definitely took up a large chunk of my life and childhood, and I was definitely obsessed with making my mum adjust my bedtime for Charmed on Tuesdays. So yeah, we'll hear a bit more about Charmed later.
We'll get back to Charmed. I can see it right now. It is... See full cast, and we are looking right now. It's loading super fast. Oh my goodness. It's gone in cast and thing.
Do you know what I say? We in Australia created Wi-Fi, for example, and we have to pay
Alyssa
the
Milano.
most for Wi-Fi. Oh,
Alyssa
I could have
Milano.
told you that.
Well,
that's me. That's Phoebe.
You know that
that's
whole,
not me, but that's me.
That whole conversation where I just pulled all the energy out of the room, you were here for it. So you could have told me and you didn't. So
but I didn't know that's who you were talking about.
I'm going to place the blame on you for this one. Because you're the Charmed.
I don't take responsibility for things.
You are the Charmed info person, and you just let the team down completely.
You should have been more descriptive of who you wanted to know the name of.
The hot one from Double Dragon.
But I don't know what Double Dragon is, so there you go.
It's a movie with Alyssa Milano and Scott
Well,
Wolf.
if I don't know what Double Dragon is, how am I going to know she's the thing that's in common?
Well, that's the end of the show.
Let's not
now.
have a domestic on
All
air.
right, let's not do it. Let's hear from some CSAs here on DVG. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM. A pleasure to be with you. Don't forget, if you want to join in the conversation, you can jump on our Facebook, Dave's Video Graveyard at WOWFM. Let us know about the choices this evening, what you think, whether you like them, or if you'd like to fight Iesha in the car park after the show. These are all things we can arrange. You're a practicing witch, so I wouldn't mess with you. You've got all those charmed lessons under your belt. I hope we say charmed enough times that it somehow triggers
Play a
a
drinking
Google
game. Everyone get a bottle.
It triggers a Google alert where, like, whoever the least successful member of the Charmcast is now gets a Google notification saying that someone mentioned Charmed 700 times this evening.
And they're like, there's your 10-cent check.
You want to do a quick shout out to some people?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say thank you so much to my younger sisters, Amber and Cindy, who are listening online. And also my stepmom, Trin, and dad, Nguyen, just because obviously they're showing their support to me. And it's really nice to know that someone's listening when I'm like, friends, listen, don't have a life.
Excuse me.
So thank you, guys.
Listening to the show shows you have a life.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, not really at all. Let's go to your next choice. This is DVG. It is DVG, guest choice special of Iesha Chau. She has chosen Castaway. And my first question that always springs to mind with this movie, because I'm a mature adult, how many creative places do you think he took a dump on that island?
I would have gone everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere's your toilet.
Yeah.
The views. We think looking at our phone's great. Imagine if you were just like staring off into the distance in this amazing paradise.
That's it. 360 wallpapers.
Still trying to survive, but...
That's it. You have chosen Castaway. Why did you pick this feel-good film?
Well, I probably would say this, along with Titanic, was one of the first movies when I was younger to actually make me cry. And it was like more of a mature movie, you know? And the whole Wilson scene, it's iconic. Like, who doesn't just cry when this one man has become attached to an inanimate object that has been his only source of, well, supporting his own self-emotional support, I guess. You know, it's weird, but at the same time, everyone can relate.
It is like, it's not, I don't want to say it's wish fulfillment, but it is a scenario that everyone's kind of thought at some stage. Like, I remember when you were a kid, being washed up on an island or quicksand were like things that you're going to encounter.
Yeah.
Haven't happened. Neither of those have happened to me.
Yet.
But you do as a yeah, exactly. I'm going to wash up on a quicksand island. I'm going to be in so much trouble. You think about what you would do in this scenario.
Yeah.
And it's such an open-ended idea that you just come up with all these amazing things. But then I watch this, like, occasionally watch, like, you see Survivor or something. Mm-hmm. And just the idea of not having dry socks just upsets me. Because I'm like, because whether, like, you're like, oh, they lose all this weight and, you know, they get sunburnt constantly, all these things.
Ooh,
but then you're like, oh, but you smell the whole time.
Oh, yeah, but no one's there to smell you, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, you never know. This movie always, like, gets to me. I really, even though it's a happy ending, because, spoiler alert, he gets off the island. The fact that Helen Hunt remarried is such, like, it's like a second heartbreak for this movie.
It's like, not that you've just had to go through, what was it, 7 years of hell or something.
And isn't it like, it's 7 years in, he opens the box and it's got a satellite phone?
I can't remember that part.
I reckon one of the boxes get ripped open and it is a satellite phone.
Oh, probably. You've probably got a better memory than me. But just the fact that he, like, chose that one box that he didn't open and followed it to where that chick was, and it was like, destiny. And I'm just like, he doesn't love you. Like,
I'd probably spend 7 years on an island to get away from Helen Hunt, though, because
it's a break.
Boring.
Yeah. Monotone.
It'd feel like a party.
Yeah.
This film also highlights the strength of music because, like you say, this is a movie that can almost make you cry
emotions.
Just because of the score that swells up under anything emotional that happens. The music tells as much of a story as Tom Hanks does. Blown away that this is directed by Robert Zemeckis that did the Back to the Future trilogy along with a whole heap of other amazing films.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Oh, that's why I love Back to the Future then. That would have been on my list too if I had more numbers.
He also directed Forrest Gump.
That too. I love that movie too.
You love blockbusters.
Yeah, but I also love things that people don't know about, and if they don't know about it, they should watch it.
Oh, okay. So you're the barometer by which everyone else should watch movies.
Yeah, and you know what? So, Club Mundo Custom Tattooing is the shop up in Brisbane that I get all of my tattoos done by. And there's an artist there, Casey. Do not trust his movie recommendations. He is not good with movie recommendations. Any movie I've ever watched from him, I'm like, I can't get through this. No, I have to turn it off.
I will defend anyone that has a considered bad choices of movies, because I was such a fat kid that I watched everything. And I grew nostalgia for movies that don't deserve it.
Oh,
and
me
so
too,
I'm
though.
always like, I love that movie. And I'll tell someone to watch it and I'll get a message, what is this crap? And I'm like, what? And they're like, you told me to watch the movie Freaked. I'm like, yeah, it's so good. And they're like, it's not. I'm like, I can't remember, but I love it.
Yeah, you're like, you watched it forever, and so you've just got this great memory of when you watched it, and it was actually a crap film.
On the podcast, because we take turns of picking a movie to do. And when it's my choice, I'm always like, oh, let's do The Pest with John Leguizamo or something. And we watch it, and the other two are just like, what is wrong with you? We're going to take your choices away from you.
That's okay. I'm here to keep you on track.
Just saying, I didn't notice. And I wonder why, because I watch a lot of Tom Hanks movies. Every time I come across them, I'm just like, I'll watch that again.
It's like, why wouldn't
I'm like,
you?
I haven't rewatched Castaway many times. And I think it's because
the length.
It's too upsetting and it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, for me, it's the length. And yeah, you don't want to cry like Hutchie, A Dog's Tale. I didn't watch that very many times, but I have watched it a few times. But
That's
you don't
with
want to
Richard
because
Gere?
you'll cry. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it's actually Japanese. When I went to Japan, I went to the statue where the real dog used to wait.
Well, if you don't have time to watch that, I recommend anyone else watch the story that was inspired by that story. And it's called Jurassic Bark. It's an episode
Bark.
It's an episode of Futurama where Fry's dog waits for him even though he's gone to the future.
Oh, stop.
And
I'll cry even at that.
Well, I'm going to break it down for you because it's so devastating. In the future, they find the remains of the dog perfectly cased in lava or whatever. Oh. And so they're like, oh, we'll bring him back to life because, he'll get to live with you again. Mm. And they do a test on the remains and go, oh, he lived to be 17. He goes, oh, but when I left, he was only 2. Oh. And so he goes, oh, well, I guess he lived a long, happy life, so we won't bring him back. So they don't bring him back. And then it cuts to, during the credits of the episode, it shows the 17 years. And it's just, it's basically him sitting, waiting on the curb and looking up every time someone walks up. Devastating. But it is basically, yeah, you are crying. Nicely done.
Oh, I would. I honestly would. Because that's so sad. It's just the idea of a dog being left there, not knowing what's going on.
Oh, no.
They don't know. They don't speak English. They're not going to understand that you went somewhere. And they're not going to understand when people say, he's gone, find a new owner. They'll be like, he's coming back in 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
I've never heard a dog talk like that, but yes, I understand.
I do all the time.
What about the big tentpole films that made people cry? Neverending Story? Artax the Horse? Did that ever get to you?
No, because I don't remember Neverending Story as much as everyone else does. I always get crap for it.
Right. What else was it? My Girl.
No, and same.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there too to revisit if you want to cry till snot comes out.
My childhood was sad
It's a
enough.
real good... There's those few movies that are real ugly cry, and that is one of them. Boy in the Striped Pajamas. That will make
that is a
snot come out.
fantastic
Yeah,
movie.
it is, but it is so upsetting.
Devastating.
You're getting quite upset
His name,
now.
Schmoll. I remember his name, Schmoll. It affected me, that movie. Or maybe that's not how you say it. Maybe it's Schmoll. I don't know.
Was there anything else that stood out as a devastating movie for you when you were younger?
Devastating. No, actually, most of the devastating movies were when I was a bit older. So Red Dog.
There's another one that just came out this week called Coco, a Red Dog story. It's the third one.
Oh, no, I can't. I don't have enough tears for that many dogs.
Animals dying in films are way sadder than humans dying in
every
films.
time, because we can just make another one.
I remember. And there's some movies that are sad halfway through, and then they pick you back up, much like Castaway. But I'm the guy that just is stuck at the sad bit.
Oh, Marley and Me.
Marley Me. I don't know if you ever saw the film Switch with Adam Sandler.
Yes, that was
The
fantastic
bit
too.
in the driveway where he basically dies as an old man.
Yeah.
Then you find out that it was all just a dream. That finding out it was all just a dream wasn't enough for me because I was already invested in him dying in the driveway.
I've lived with you, mate.
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I'm devastated. You're not fixing this.
Yeah.
You've ruined this whole movie. Date with my wife at the time, going and seeing I Am Legend with Will Smith. And there's a bit where he has to kill his dog. And I just couldn't concentrate the rest of the movie.
That was such a good movie. I loved that movie. So I did a monologue from that movie in a school project just because I loved that movie so much.
I still occasionally late at night think about the movie and I'm like, hang on, his blood had the active ingredient that was the cure. So essentially, if the dog had bitten him at that point, it probably would have cured the dog.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
But he didn't even try.
Exactly. He just killed the dog.
He just decided to kill the dog because he's selfish.
It is 100.5 WOW FM, Dave's Video Graveyard. Just before that, we heard from Bowling for Soup with My Wiener, the song all about a wiener dog. So send your complaints to the dog. Speaking of dogs, how much of a dog act is in this movie, The Titanic? Well, not The Titanic. That sounds like a cheap spin-off.
Yeah.
Titanic, 1997, the world's biggest movie at the time, broke all the records, won all the awards, won an Oscar for James Cameron, one of my favourite directors of all time. What an amazing film. Why have you chosen this? Is it because of how good Billy Zane's wig looks in this movie?
Definitely not. But in saying that, the reason why I picked it is because it was just, again, one of those movies that really evoked emotion within me. And who doesn't love Leonardo DiCaprio, especially as a young girl? And you all want to be Kate Winslet as Rose. No, we want as us as a young girl. Why you do that to me? So anyway, the whole idea of just being whisked away by some poor boy who really offers real romance to you, and you're on this amazing ship, and he's an artist. It's so romantic, and everything that every girl, well, at least for me, thinks that they want. And so it really just captures you there. But then you've also got the scariness of you're in a boat and you're about to die with someone that is what you think your future, and your future's no longer an option.
I'm not a psychiatrist, believe it or not. I know to look at. That's very surprising. You're revealing a lot about yourself, that you are literally talking about a historical level disaster.
Yeah.
Such a bad boy. He draws naked ladies.
I just want to be loved. Daddy didn't love me.
There was a meme, and man, I love talking about memes on the radio because it's 2020. 2020 even. It blows my mind. There is a meme about the guy who owns the car from Titanic.
Really?
And it's basically him finding the car afterwards.
And the mess.
Yeah. And it had me crying. I was laughing so much. And as much as no one likes to admit it, this is one of those films that had a song that was just as big as the movie, if not bigger. My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion. Everyone knew it. Everyone loved it. Much like when Armageddon came out, everyone was obsessed with the Aerosmiths Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Yes.
Even if they don't like to admit it.
I will admit it.
This movie soundtrack, I think the song was number one for a ridiculous amount of time. And the film even... I think it was the highest grossing thing until what's his movie about the blue space alien crowd? Avatar. Until Avatar came out, I'm pretty sure this was the highest grossing film of all time. What an amazing film, though. It was at a time where CGI was only just getting good, so they had to rely a lot on literally filling up massive tanks and building fake ships.
I remember watching a behind the scenes where they interviewed Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, and they were just in the water, and they were explaining that it was just as cold, or at least really, really cold, for them to go into. So, when they're shivering and stuff, that's genuine. It's cold.
Did you see the Mythbusters episode where they explain that two people could fit on the door in a heap of different ways?
No, but I already knew that. She just wanted the space. She wanted to spread out. I get it.
I'm with her because, you know, us gingers need our space. So
Dude, and you have a higher body temperature, so you just need that room, you know?
She was self-conscious of her sweating, so she didn't want him on there with her. She's like, yeah, I know it's freezing, but I'm sweating right now because that's what us gingers do.
Don't get attached. I know we just slept together, but, you know.
Good times. This is back before Leo got like that weird moon face. He got real potato face like in the last 10 years maybe.
Real round.
Yeah. I think the last thing where he looked really thin was The Departed, the Martin Scorsese film, which is amazing. If you haven't seen it, you have to leave right now.
I honestly don't know.
Matt Damon and Leonardo. You should leave. Yeah, this is the Titanic at the height of Leo's attractiveness, I think, because everyone fell in love with him because of Romeo and Juliet in
oh my gosh,
96.
Yes.
Sorry, Romeo plus Juliet. I don't like
Baz Luhrmann though.
Baz Luhrmann's film.
You don't?
They're just slow motion glitter.
I'll fight ya.
They are slow motion glitter farts.
Yeah, and that's great.
No,
what's wrong with that? Have you ever seen a glitter fart that you weren't impressed with?
No, you've got me there. However, I'm a massive fan of John Leguizamo, and so it was so cool to see him as the cat in Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah.
And I do miss a time where a movie was an event where all the music videos that tied in with it, the soundtrack was like a massive thing, because there was like that Young Hearts Run Free, and then there was Quentin Tarver's When Doves Cry, which was all cut into the Romeo and Juliet movie. They don't do that anymore.
But then also, lol, I was married once. At my wedding, there's a song from Romeo plus Juliet.
Is it Kissing You?
Yes, and that as well, the video clip to that as well included the scene with the fish tank.
I was going to say, was it super awkward at your wedding where they had to fill and put those tropical fish in the massive tank and they all didn't survive and they're just like floating upside down?
No, that was just
and
my
Paul
favorite.
Rudd was there crying? It was such a weird wedding, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know, but it definitely entertained.
Maybe I'll revisit that off your suggestion of Baz Luhrmann being okay.
Yes,
because
please.
I can't handle. Have you seen Australia?
No, I haven't.
That is Exhibit A, because one of my favourite actors.
I still like him then.
One of my free passes, if I was to turn, is Hugh Jackman. And the fact that I even love him in Paperback Hero, one of his rom-coms before he was famous from Australia. Australia is just so bad. It is just slow motion glitter farts. That's all Baz Luhrmann can do. Now, it is time that we do the quiz.
Oh, yes.
Before we move on to your next choice, just exit out of all the photos I took of you when you weren't looking.
Lovely.
And let's find
You're welcome. I'll invoice
quiz.
you later for that. No.
It's I'm going to start up my own OnlyFans for you. But I will be selling it though.
You're like candid shots.
when I run out of like someone's going to message you one day and go, listen, I was really enjoying your photos for a while, but now it's all just pot bellies with like an orange snail tail. Could you cut that out? You need to get that looked at because your hair is red.
And then you get the really desperate people and they're just like, oh, I love the new look.
Where did you get those hairy toes?
Yeah, it's really turning me on.
Okay. Would you prefer to watch a movie at the cinema or at home?
Okay, so I definitely feel like it depends on the movie. Like, I mean, I remember Lord of the Rings. There was so much hype before that it wasn't something I could just sit at home. I needed to be there. I needed to be there the day it opened on Boxing Day.
It's an experience.
Exactly. So it's the experience and it's like the atmosphere and stuff. But I also feel like something at home, like with creepy sort of horror, like I want to feel in a safe space, but somewhere I can still like make it really dark and like eerie and stuff. And like movies where I really want to be involved and like, you know, I guess, for example, Gone Girl, like a psychological thriller, something that you really want to be on. I still
hate that lady. I see that actress and stuff, and I still hate her because of Gone Girl.
But with that, like, just basically those kind of movies where you really want to pay attention. You don't want to be disturbed by everyone else in the cinema. But, like, with comedies, I also want to be at home because I laugh
So you
horribly.
don't want to be around the lower humans. You basically don't want to be around those dirty humans.
Yeah, so basically, I guess you could say I favour watching movies at home unless there's a hype for it.
If I can get away with not putting pants on, I'll go to the cinema. But if not, I prefer it from home. What is your food of choice if you do go to the cinema?
Popcorn, butter popcorn. Like literally any girlfriends that I go to their houses and they'll like get snacks and popcorn. I'll be like, I'm just going to let you know I have an unhealthy way of eating popcorn. Like, you'll look down and it's fine. And then you look down again and it's gone. Like, that's me. And then if you go to the movies and you get the big bucket, they still think, oh, no, there's so much. Like, how could that happen? It still does.
What about the unforgivable when you go to a cinema and there's so many unpopped kernels in the bottom and you're like, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Blasphemy.
It is. Okay, if you could choose one of these genres to watch for the rest of your life, would you pick comedy, horror, or drama?
Well, I can create drama. I'm funny enough, so I definitely have to go with horror. Because I don't really want to kill people. I like having my freedom.
Okay. Which film didn't get one but deserves a sequel?
Well, honestly, I didn't look it up to see if there was a sequel. But I feel like the movie Dredd, so like not the really old Judge
2012
Dredd,
with Carl Urban?
I really would like to see a sequel, not because there was anything I feel that was unresolved or anything. I just really liked the movie.
That is one of my favourite movies. We did a recap of 10 years of film, and that was my favourite film of such a good movie. Who would play you in a biopic?
No one can play me. No, I'd play me. Or Lucy Liu if she managed to like still maintain that she was really young.
Sending you the question, I knew that was going to be your
Everyone
answer.
knows it.
Such a lazy answer. What was the last film to make you tear up?
Probably just another time of watching Titanic.
Which movie freaked you out the most as a child?
Okay, so this answer, Child's Play 2. Not a question in my mind about it, purely because Child's Play 2 was like a movie that my mum was watching when I was a kid, and I was supposed to be in my room playing, and I kept going around and like, you know, trying to peek into the movie myself. And so I popped in on a few scenes, and like they literally stayed with me. Like one where she was in the bedroom, I think maybe sewing or doing some washing or something, and he like attacked her from under the bed with the sheet. And then like the other scene where they were on like a conveyor belt and he was melted and stuff. All that stuff freaked me out. So from that point, any dolls that I had that weren't Barbie dolls or teddy bears, I threw out, and I was never a doll person again. I just couldn't. And I don't even watch it as an adult purely because I know I'll look at it and think it's stupid, but I'll still get scared.
Now for the next question. Now, without saying the word charmed, which TV show or movie from your childhood would you reboot as a movie? It was Charmed.
Yes. Charmed all the way. Because why didn't you do a movie, mate?
It would have made so much sense.
Oh.
Have them as the older witches teaching some young witches.
Yeah, do something. They could do a million things with it and they just haven't, and it's lazy.
If you could add your favourite fictional character to any other movie, who would it be and what would the movie be?
It would definitely have to be Leatherface to Titanic.
Okay.
Just to see how much damage he could do.
It'd make the door smaller.
Yeah, why not?
That's it. And which movie star would you turn for?
I had to really think about this one because obviously everyone goes Margot Robbie, and, you know, Margot
No, because I remember from Neighbours, and an Aussie accent in an American movie is just so upsetting.
Yeah, and especially if you can pick it up where
it twangs through.
Yeah, drops it at like a letter.
Because I can't even watch a movie with, do you know the actor Sam Worthington? He was in like Terminator, Salvation Army, other stuff.
He's also a country artist too, I think.
I'd believe it. He cannot turn off his Aussie, even when he's supposed to. And I always remember going to the movies and watching Clash of the Titans, the remake. And there's just a bit where he goes, I'm Perseus. And just the way he said Perseus, I was like, yeah, what part of Greece are you from?
Yeah, you're like, where's that from? That's very interesting. But I ended up coming up with Mila Kunis because she's hilarious. And if you can make me laugh, I'll fall in love with you. And she's hot. She's got that exotic, you know, a little bit different, dark features. I love that.
She actually come across my feed recently because TMZ reported that her and Aston Kutcher had finally call it quits again.
No, I'm all about them.
But it wasn't true.
Oh, good.
And so they actually released a reaction video where they're like, oh.
Did you know we're broken up?
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh, we're over.
Honey.
And she's like, oh, damn. What
Don't
about
eat that.
And
we're
she's
broken
like,
up.
She's like, what about the kids? Like, well, sorry, it's over.
Yeah. Well, the magazine says that you took full custody.
That's it. So that is our quiz. So now everyone knows a little bit more about you. Let's go back into the music before we round out things here on DVG. It is Dave's Video Graveyard. And if you know that film, I hope you're picturing Nicolas Cage hairs blowing in the breeze as the breeze hits him as he's a free man.
Gorgeous.
Why did you pick this film?
It's definitely not the eye candy, right? No, definitely is the eye candy, but it's just got everything. It's got explosions, it's got crime, it's got action, and it's also got the dreaded, pedophilia sort of topic, which makes it a little bit edgy.
Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
It's got Dave Chappelle.
It's got amazing cast as well. And, I've always got a soft spot for Nicolas Cage, even though I know he can be cheesy at times and he hasn't always done the best work.
Doesn't matter.
But he is amazing and I love him.
Much like this radio show, I think that enough quantity makes quality. So
yeah.
you just keep doing it.
If he just keeps popping up, everyone love him.
But he did Mandy last year, and that was one of my favourite films. It is insanity. You would love it. Mandy is such a you movie.
Yeah.
Seriously. It ticks all of your boxes. You would love it.
Love it. Okay, well, I'll have to watch it then.
I was more of a fan of Face Off than Con Air.
Face Off.
However, Con Air is an amazing movie.
But Face Off is so good. Just the whole concept of being able to swap faces with your arch nemesis, basically, and then having to walk their shoes and then, losing yourself in their sort of personality in the world of crime when you're supposed to be, a law-abiding citizen and a police officer. It's just crazy. Sorry, ran over.
That's fine. There wasn't enough self-discovery, though, in that movie. I feel like there would have been way more. Just put in a montage of what you would do in someone else's body.
Yeah.
I think that would have been more interesting. When they first swap, they're both I wonder what it feels like with this one.
Yeah,
For lack of a better way of putting it.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you mean there. But I just like the fact that they they did quite well with the graphics as well. When you see the actual face being peeled off, it doesn't look too fake.
What I do love is we revisited it recently and you just accept it.
Yeah.
Because you suspend disbelief, but there's a bit that shows Travolta's love handles getting cut off so he looks the same size as Nicolas Cage. I'm it's going to take a lot more than that. I'm pretty sure you're about a foot shorter than Nicolas Cage as well. Nicolas Cage is really interesting in real life as well. He's actually of the Coppola family, the famous filmmakers, but he's also a bit of a loose unit. And you're always seeing there's always photos coming up of him drunk on the Vegas Strip with Vince Neil from Motley Crue or hanging out with Marilyn Manson and Johnny Depp.
He should just marry me already. We would be so fun together.
Oh, man, this movie made me scared of John Malkovich, and I still can't see him in movies without thinking he's terrifying.
Oh, really? It just sort of resonated with you. He is your horror.
And the downside, we talked about it earlier, about the films that have a song that accompany them. Mm-hmm. I could not stand the Trisha Yearwood song that came from Con Air, which is How Do I Live With Her?
Yes.
It's so terrible.
Stop it. I sing that song literally almost every second day to my dog.
That is...
and I'm
You redeemed it. The story was super sad until
I sing
you
it
brought
really
your dog.
loud. Well, I'm on, when most of the time I'm on acreage and I can just sing as loud as I want and my dog just, loves it. Well, I think she does. And no one else has to be disturbed by it.
Man, this movie is insane. I also love The Rock. Another movie, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer.
That's right. That's where they go to the...
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. Oh, yeah. I was thinking of that movie where they have to go to, the meteor or whatever and blow it up.
That's Armageddon.
Oh, there you go. I'm all about
it's
everything
also Deep
getting
Impact.
mixed up. Yeah, it's also a whole lot of other genre movies.
The Core as well, I think.
Yes.
Oh, man. This is not a movie. And not to... I shouldn't generalise, but I didn't think I'd see this on your list. It's not a very girl movie.
What?
Con Air.
Oh, Con Air. No, but...
You know the movie we're talking about?
Yeah. We get so sidetracked, I forget. No, it may not be a very girly movie, but I guess every girl likes a good-looking hunk who's a hero at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that's enough on why you decided to come on the radio show. We're talking about Con Air now.
Sorry. I keep getting distracted by all your pure muscle.
That's it. You don't mind if I do sit-ups while you talk, do you?
Go ahead.
Cool. 1. We're done.
1.
1, and then I'll call in sick to work tomorrow because I'm injured. What an insane movie. The 90s were and we're going back to Uncle and Arnie corner right now. The 90s were an amazing time for action films. And I don't think it'll ever get back there. I still haven't seen Bad Boys 3, but that is of the ilk of the 90s, because obviously the first two Bad Boys movies were in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I think the second one was 2002. They are part of the Con Air style of action movie where it's like, we couldn't write any dialogue, so we just blew some stuff up.
Yeah, explosion in the background as they slow walk away.
Yeah, so I want to see if they've kept much of that flavour now, because Michael Bay released a movie through Netflix last month called Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds and Dave Franco.
I watched that. I didn't think that was too bad.
That was a 1990s action movie, if ever I did see one.
Yeah, for sure. And it was like, it's almost like that Rick and Morty episode. It was like, team assemble.
It really was.
That's pure 90s like action movie.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah.
Good choice. All right, let's go to your next choice here on DVG. 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard, as we continue the guest choice special. Now, you have bent the rules of the 10 film choice. You have picked the entire filmography of a director as one of your choices. You've picked the work of Quentin Tarantino. What is your favourite?
I honestly wouldn't know, but I'm a big fan of Dusk Till Dawn.
Yep.
I love the cheesiness of the vampires and kind of how they look really over the top prosthetically, I guess. Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill, obviously, because Lucy Liu is probably one of my favourite actors. So for her, I've got a soft spot, and I really like the action and just like the cheesy and like I just thought it was always odd with the whole beeping out of Uma Thurman's name and all that sort of stuff. It was just very different and put together quite well, so that you could almost feel the panic when they're panicking and that sort of thing. He
manages to convey dread in movies, and that's why, for me, my favourite Tarantino movie is The Hateful Eight, because it's such a slow burn and you don't know who's going to like double cross who, and it really puts you in the room with it and you feel like you're part of the sense of dread. And he manages that, but as soon as someone points out that he has a foot fetish, Tarantino,
does he?
Yeah,
I could please him.
He has a famous foot fetish, and when I went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last year, there was a scene where Brad Pitt is driving a girl down the highway. She has a dirty foot pressed on the windscreen, but the camera is on the windscreen as well, and so it's just a dirty foot in your face for like 2 whole minutes, and it's like, and now that you know that, go
just
back
about to say
and think of Death Proof with
the
Jungle
leg.
Julia's leg hanging out of the window.
That was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, there are so many foot
Death
fetish
Proof is
things.
probably also another favourite.
Even though he didn't do Planet Terror.
That was with Rose McGowan as well.
I was going to say that. I bet you he hung on to Rose McGowan's leg that came off.
He probably did. He was just like, thank you, babe. Love you.
I loved Planet Terror as well, because
Me
I was
too.
so in love with Fergie at the time from Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, were you? Oh, yeah, and how she's
so
at the
she's the
shop
mistress.
thing. Yeah.
What a great thing. What about the likes of some of the writing things that Tarantino did? Like he wrote the movie True Romance. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think I have.
That is a fantastic early.
I think it's say director or acted in.
I reckon it's 1994. It's the first thing he got paid to write, and he used the money to make From Dusk Till Dawn with Robert Rodriguez.
Oh wow!
But it's Christian Slater at his most handsome, and he's basically a down on his luck guy. It's very Tarantino in the sense, but he also has an imaginary version of Elvis that he talks to.
Oh, okay.
And Elvis is played by Val Kilmer. It is one of my favourite movies. I recommend that as highly as whatever the other film you have to go home and watch.
Oh, wait, you need to remind Mandy.
Mandy and True Romance.
I'll write that on my poster.
Nice. Obviously, Pulp Fiction being his most famous. Reservoir Dogs being his first breakthrough film.
Yes.
I didn't see Reservoir Dogs till like 2018. What? And so by the time I got around to seeing it, it's much like when something is parodied on The Simpsons. That it becomes in your mind, you're like, all right, that's a big part of The Simpsons. Then you see where it came from and you're like...
Like Cape Fear.
Yeah, and you're still like, oh, The Simpsons is where I know it from.
Yep.
That's what Reservoir Dogs was for me, because every action movie... Oh, no. And not just Simpsons, in general. Every movie stole from Reservoir Dogs after it came out.
Yeah.
So then to go back and see the source, I'm like, this isn't impressive. This is in that movie, and that movie, and that movie.
But you don't
taking away the fact that it was the first time it happened. That is a really good choice. very much cheating though, because it's not one film,
I
but
bend rules. I don't break them.
that's it. But yeah, you could potentially make some money with some feet photos for Mr. Tarantino.
Oh my gosh, I would totally do that. I have cute feet. I've been told I have cute feet.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd really like
YOLO, PayPal.
That's part of your OnlyFans.
Link
Do you have
in
any?
bio.
Do you have any tattoos on your feet?
Do I? Yes. Oh, I have my brother and sister's name, or one of my brother and sister's names on my feet. But mostly probably Tom Hanks's portrait goes half onto the top of my foot and the rest are kind of bare. But the rest is, mostly from ankle up.
Okay. Who does your work? Because it's pretty impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. It's actually
It's not actually that good. No, I'm joking.
Neither is your face. Anyway, how like 2000 is that?
I know you are.
But what am I? Well, anyway, back to me. My tattoo artist is Simon Connolly. He's the owner and operator of Club Mondo Custom Tattooing. So he's done all of my portrait work. So, all my movie portraits, my serial killer portraits. I won awards for him at the Miss Inked Beauty Comp where you first saw me. And heaps of his artists have won awards and stuff. So, yep. That's Simon Connolly.
Well, you got to give him more. You say you won, but, in that event, you're the piece.
He needed a canvas.
You're the
Let's not go there.
You're the piece of paper, and he's the artist. So.
Yeah, but if he had crap paper, it might not come out good.
No one's buying the Mona Lisa for the paper it's on, though.
They might be because it's the old paper.
I must be getting tired because that just got super nasty for no reason at all.
You need a nap.
Yeah, I do. I'll go have a quick power nap while we play this next song, and we will continue here on DVG. It is Dave's Video Graveyard, and I'm realising before you even speak why you've picked this movie. It's an entire franchise built on revenge for killing of a dog.
Yes!
I've put the pieces together, but boy, what a franchise it is. It changed the face of action. Action has to be super violent now or no one takes it serious.
No.
You either get the John Wick end of the scale or Fast and the Furious where it's ridiculous. This is just such an amazing film, and it's one of those things where Keanu Reeves did all the training in that, and they count bullets. Oh. So if he has a gun that shoots 30 bullets, they make sure that at 30 he reloads and stuff like that. So it's all ties into realism, and it's just amazing the amount of training he's done. And you've got to love a movie where Lily Allen's brother kills a dog and then gets revenge after him.
Yeah, I know. And not only that, it's just the fact that everyone likes the idea of their, I guess, idol being even scarier than, say, the boogeyman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the fact that the most scariest of scary creatures could be scared by this one person. Like, you better run, boy. Like, your daddy can't even save you.
I was quite delighted to see one of my favourite childhood wrestlers has a really small part in John Wick.
Oh, really?
And it was just funny to see because he's just an old man now, but he plays a door bouncer that John sends home and doesn't kill.
Oh, okay, he's that guy.
He's that guy, Kevin Nash. Huge
there you
fan.
go.
He's also in Magic Mike 1 and 2, so
is he?
You may know him from that.
Well, do you know, as much as everyone would think that me, the sleazebag, would have loved Magic Mike movies, I didn't find them that great. I enjoyed them for what they were, and that is half-naked men dancing around with a very mild storyline,
For me, what was upsetting is, like, if there is a movie about female strippers, they really go all out. And then that was almost like a family-friendly version of male strippers.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
they didn't show the
that's
drugs,
it. Yeah, the drugs. They didn't show anything with starting with a D, which is quite upsetting. Cause
they didn't show any of that.
I went to the cinema for McConaughey Wang, and I left disappointed.
No, everyone would want McConaughey Wang. He is, okay, if I was a boy, I'd turn for him.
Now, speaking of Wang, this movie is about hiding it. Mrs. Doubtfire, why did you pick this film?
I most definitely have to love Mrs. Doubtfire because it's Robin Williams. He's my childhood. He's he was in the Hook movie as Peter Pan. He's just a fantastic actor, and I resonate with him in general, but the movie itself just brings back so many childhood memories for me. And it was, again, like a Goonies, watch it before I go to bed 1,000,000 times over.
Have you seen 1 Hour Photo?
1 Hour, yes. Isn't he creepy in that one? But he
really
did it
is.
so well. You would not have thought that he could be such a family-friendly character and then be this, really psychopathic stalker.
It's amazing what bleaching your hair can do for someone as well.
Yeah, change the whole look. But I have the Mrs. Doubtfire tattoo as well, and I probably would say that that's the most popular because she's like in the scene where she's flipping off the bird out the window. And whenever I'm walking around, everyone's like first comment is, oh, who's that? That's that chick from that movie. And like, although they may not know the name straight away, everyone knows Mrs. Doubtfire. She's iconic.
That's it. This was also from the writer of the Goonies.
Oh, was it? Oh, makes sense then.
Yeah, I just saw it come up and I was like, oh, there you go. So you've really got... I don't think this movie could be remade in 2020.
Nah.
No, it's the social consciousness that you need to have now. This would not stand up on its own.
No, it definitely wouldn't at all because everyone just has to be so conscious. I mean, there are some people who can be open-minded but just not be like so nasty about it, but people would take it the wrong way instead of taking it for what it is, which is someone trying to disguise themselves, not trying to make light of someone going through a transition.
Yep, definitely. It is DVG, originally from 1978, but then also remade in 2007, and then technically rebooted in 2018. You have chosen pretty much the entire Halloween franchise, but you said that you specifically love the two Rob Zombie films.
Yeah, well, I just like that it's a classic for me, the original Halloweens with Jamie Lee Curtis. Who couldn't love her in that? She was the ultimate scream queen back then, you know. But the fact that Rob Zombie's then been able to take that classic movie and enhance it with so much more violence and gore and story plot, and then he also obviously considers the psychological side from it as well. So it just gives viewers a bit more to be interested in instead of just a slasher. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the remakes, and I just couldn't say whether or not one was better than the other because they both had their points, you know.
Because 2006 with horror movies, Eli Roth came out with Hostel, and it showed that for a long time, horror movies were always less is more. Yeah. So often something happened off screen, or you saw the lead up, or you saw the aftermath. But Eli Roth really doubled down on, you know what? Let's show start to finish all these murders, all the gore. It became known as gore porn for a long time. Oh, so after that was released, the following year, Rob Zombie took up the challenge and made pretty much that version of Halloween. Because, you know, in the originals, there was a lot of violent kills, but it was so dark because John Carpenter loved the way he lit it so dark and set on the one night. And so a lot of it was on screen, but you couldn't make it all out. Whereas Rob Zombie's like, here's full HD of like a head getting stomped on.
And we'll zoom in at this point.
Yeah. So you basically get blood on yourself if you sit close enough to the screen. Yeah. That kind of movie. So it was definitely different. And it also... much like when Ghostbusters got remade in 2016 and all the original fans got super upset. Yeah. 2007's Halloween really upset a lot of the original fans. But I think it's a complimentary piece. As in, you know, just watch it for what it is.
It didn't ruin the movie, in my opinion. Like, in my opinion, anyone who says that it's like a bad sort of movie to, you know, disrespectful to the original. I'm someone who saw the original multiple times as a child before I ever watched a remake of it. And I disagree with you. So people can have different opinions about a fantastic movie, but you're wrong.
And the offer is still there to fight you in the car park after the show.
100% over that.
That would be it. So that is your 10 films.
Woo! My only 10 if you would like to know more about my movies.
Tell us what didn't make the cut. Tell us some honourable mentions. Can you think of them?
Oh, no, not when you put me on the spot. Do you know how long that list came today? Oh, The Happening.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg's Running from the Wind.
Yeah, yes, because it was so much better than Bird Box.
You've picked so many movies with John Leguizamo because he's in that as well.
Is he? Well, maybe I just love him. Why don't you just message him? Why don't you just tell him and marry him?
Why don't you just add him to your OnlyFans?
Yeah, why don't you just send him my link?
Good times. Where can people check out your work and what you're doing?
Oh, well, I'm basically just on Instagram if you want to contact me for, I guess, collaborations for modelling and that sort of thing. Otherwise, if you are interested in more so of that OnlyFans thing, again, just check out the Instagram page and you'll see all the details there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you've had a good time.
I have. I really enjoyed myself.
It was fantastic to have a special addition to our episode of Charmed recap. We'll have to have you come back for a commentary, and we'll just do a few episodes of Charmed.
Yes.
Where you can just tell us how much you don't like Shannon Doherty.
No, I loved.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to check out our all our socials. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well as Twitter, but we don't know how to use it because we are old men. This is DVG. Stick around for the Emerald Tower. And you just snort laughed, and I'm not letting go. I will edit that and put it out in the highlights. It'll just be a remix of your snort. So thank you so much for joining us and snorting.